This Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum DF Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by KUTT. KUTT is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and available in 40 states. Head to KUTT.com, that's KUTT.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. Today is the last day for you to get your 15% off of all the items in the merch store all month long by using the promo code PLAYOFFS.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
It is a glorious day to talk racing things. It is, of course, the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and we are inching ever so closely to the unofficial beginning of the 2024 season, which is, of course, the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum. Odds have been trickling in. DFS stuff has been trickling in. Cody,
has it been trickling in, Rod? Is anybody else aware that there's a race this weekend?
It doesn't feel like race week, does it? That's the thing that pisses me off. We've been looking for it all. We're looking forward to it all winter long, and it still doesn't feel like race week. And here
big build up, and then it's like, oh, it's just
I feel like it's our fault, but
we got DFS salaries, so we do have that to talk about, which is beautiful. It's back. Oh, I love it.
Yes, definitely DFS salaries. So we will be talking about those today on this episode. Unfortunately, nothing on Underdog as of yet. But if that happens, then we'll just break out an extra episode on its own for Underdog, and we'll call it good there. But again, this is it just feels like this isn't even race week. I can't wait for Daytona because we know they're going to have everything together at that point finally and get it to us. But well, I don't know. Actually, I probably shouldn't speak too quickly on that one.
Well, that's what's crazy is there's some places that already have like top threes and head-to-heads, and we could probably actually put together a full Daytona 500 pick show already, which is how the Clash should have been about 2 weeks ago. But again, I don't want to get stuck on the books, hating the books forever. But come on, can we just be better, please?
Look, we don't hate them. I mean, it's not a hate is a strong word, but I really don't like that we don't get this.
We don't hate them at all. We just hate their actions currently.
Yeah, bad.
Shape it up. What are you doing?
But yes, of course, this is going to be the Clash of the Coliseum DFS edition for this episode. And look, as we do with every DFS episode, if you are new to this show, if you were able to watch us the other night on the big show, on the SGPN big show, first of all, welcome. Yes. Hopefully we carry the same energy that brought you to us throughout the course of our own show. And we give you some good nuggets, but on the DFS episode, it's a little different than the betting picks episodes. At the betting picks episode, as you saw yesterday, we give you our bets, and of course, yesterday we were very limited in what we could give you. Obviously, we give you a lot more when we have a much bigger menu to choose from. But as far as DFS is concerned, we each pick a driver from the various price points, right? We'll give you the most expensive driver that we think is the best one that you got to have on the slate. We'll give you a mid-tier driver that, is a good, solid investment at their price, or maybe even a bargain at their price. And then, of course, we give you the bottom tier, the lowest price drivers down there. And in that, we try to find you the guys that, well, they won't lose you points. We're hoping that they don't lose you points at the end of the day, that they don't end up on their hood, that you don't see them in a giant little or the tiny little red car flipped over. We hope you don't see that. But we're trying to get you a little bit of value in those bottom tier guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great thing. A little bit different than doing like a football DFS lineup, right? You can kind of build those going into the weekend, and there's not outstanding factors. We obviously don't know ever as we go into this. There will be practice for a lot of events, not everything. Daytona 500 will not practice, but there will be practice this weekend. Of course, something very important to note about this race in particular, not everyone is going to make the race. Only 23 drivers are going to be in the main event, and the DFS points over on DraftKings only count for the main event. The heat races don't matter. The practices don't matter. So really, we'll have 20 of the starters, and know the first 20 starting positions after Saturday going into Sunday once the heat races are completed. And then Sunday we'll add 2 from the last chance qualifier. We'll add 1 with the provisional for, the highest finishing guy from the points. Again, we broke down the format back on Monday's show. But you do have to kind of pay attention, and Saturday or Sunday rather, after the last chance qualifier, when we for sure know everyone in it, that's when you're really going to be able to build your lineup. So a little bit different this week, but again, if you're new to us, I know we've had some new people, some people checking us out from listening to the big show, stumbling upon this. Welcome. We're excited to have you. We love talking DFS, but yeah, hard to build exact lineups with not knowing all the details, but these are definitely the guys. Highlight, keep your eye on. Good chance you're going to want to work multiple of them in, and whatnot. So yeah, oh man, we're talking DFS for a race, Rod. Oh, I'm so freaking pumped up. I'm so excited.
It is exciting. And if you're new to NASCAR DFS in general, there's several ways in which you can score points. This isn't like your typical football or baseball or anything like that, where you basically watch the points go up as the minutes on the clock go down. No, sir. NASCAR DFS is not for the faint of heart. And we always tell you, especially on super speedways, right? On a normal week, it doesn't give you a heart attack too much to watch and keep along. But especially on super speedways, and I would even say this race in particular, don't watch it don't sweat the thing as it goes along. Just set it, watch the race, come back and check to make sure how you did, because I guarantee you are going to freak out if this is your first time playing NASCAR DFS, because points are scored based on starting position has a lot to do with it, because you start with a positional set of points. So first place has the maximum amount of points, and then second place and so on down through the field, right? So that either goes up or goes down as your driver moves up or moves down in positions. So let's say he starts on the pole and then all immediately slingshots his way back to 36th. Well, you just lost a shit ton of points and you are going to cry until he gets back up into front, right? You also get it for laps led. You get it for fastest laps as well. So, again, those points accumulate and you really can't get those taken away from you. But that place differential is a huge, huge thing in NASCAR DFS.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you laid it out perfectly.
Yeah. So don't do it. Just for your sake and for the sake of you playing NASCAR DFS in the future, just don't do it this way.
I can't help myself, Rod.
I know you can.
Even at the super speedways, I just watch it go up and down, and that's very that's my exercise for the day. It gets my heart rate going.
Well, and it's one thing. Look, it's one thing when you're doing it in, maybe a tournament of 5 or even like a 50-50, right? Where there's only about 100 people in it and you're doing a 50-50 in there. But like if you're in one of those gigantic tournaments and you start off with a just a fantastic lineup and everybody's up front and you're already cashing before the green flag even starts. And then next thing you know, 10 laps in, you're down at the bottom and you're like, how the hell did this even happen? That's kind of what NASCAR DFS is all about. And then at the end, you figure out a way to cash and you realize, where did all of this come from?
It's a beautiful, beautiful game, Rod.
It is. It's a beautiful, nasty, dirty, disgusting, but we love it to death. So, all right. Well, I think we've set that one up enough. As far as this is concerned, the main event is the only thing that counts too in this race. So all these heat races, all of these other preliminary stuff that's going to go on, that doesn't matter. The only thing that counts is those final laps in the actual heat race. So keep that in mind because, again, if you're looking and you're trying to figure out what's going on, then yeah, it doesn't happen until the green flag drops in the main event.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be the main event, 150 laps. Only green flag laps counts. They won't be scoring it under the caution flags like they do in a normal race. And so I think really just strategy wise, I think a lot of people are going to try and approach it like, oh, it's going to be a wreck fest. You need a bunch of place differential. I don't know that that's necessarily the key. As we've seen over the past few years, it is tough to pass. Obviously, if you pick the guy up front and he gets dumped and shoved to the back, that's going to hurt you. But you really got to pick the guys that are going to finish up front. It's a short race, only 150 laps. And they're going to tick off quickly, but that's only 150 laps led. That's only 150 fastest laps. Those are going to get eaten up quickly. So finishing position is going to be the most key thing you're going to get. So you've really got to hit. Obviously, if somebody leads 100 laps, you're going to want them as well. But you're really going to want to get the guys that are going to finish good at this one.
Indeed. All right, we'll set it up for you, but let's tell you first about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in. You can win 100x with some spicy plays. Get ready. Once we get some Underdog plays for our race, then we'll definitely give them to you. But in the meantime, listen, I'm already looking ahead to the Super Bowl, and I don't care what Christian McCaffrey's numbers are on touchdowns. You take the higher than 1.5, 2.5, 6.5. I don't care. Dude is probably getting in the end zone now before it's going. Right now it's at 1.5. There's a little spicy by it, but I would still take that for sure. Watch along, make your picks, maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code RACESGPN, Underdog's going to double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code RACESGPN. All right, Cody. Well, like you said, I mean, it's only 150 laps, so the laps led thing, we can't necessarily tell you that that's going to be a gigantic thing. So what we're looking for is guys that we think are going to be finishing toward the front and can actually help us have a good DFS day. So as we do, Cody, let's start our picks with the high-priced drivers. Who's your first one?
Yeah, I'm going to jump down the board a little bit from the very top, just to kind of paint the picture, I guess. Kyle Larson is at the top of the board, 10,400. Truex at 10.2. Blaney at 10. Byron at 9.9. Hamlin at 9.7. Rod, I'm going to settle in Kyle Busch, 9,500. Really, really liking Kyle Busch this weekend. Of course, on yesterday's show, one of the guys I gave out as, of the favorites, the guy that I wanted to win, 10-1. So you look at the last 2 years of this race, third place he finished last year, a nice solid podium finish. And in 2022, he finished second in this race. You go back, also, just to kind of touch on like we did yesterday, really what I'm looking at is what have you done at the Clash in the past? I'm going to weigh in short flats in general, not specifically looking at taking from any other track, but I think what you've done in the 2-race sample size we have here is the most important thing. Kyle has been really good here. You look at his teammate Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon's been top 3 both years in this race as well. And then Tyler Reddick 2 seasons ago in the 8 car that Kyle Busch now runs, 51 laps in the front of the field, had a really, really good car before he got dumped late. So I think that Kyle Busch is a really solid play. Saves you a little money. I mean, he's 900 rather cheaper than Kyle Larson all the way at the top of the board. So I think he's a really solid play. He's a good driver. He's shown up for this event both years so far. He's a true through and through racer. He wants to come out, win this type of thing. I think he's going to be in the mix. I think he's 2 for 2 on top 3s. I don't see a reason he can't do it again. So give me Kyle Busch, 9,500 to kick it off.
So I was actually going to give out Kyle Busch on the big show yesterday as somebody to watch, but I just didn't feel like, I don't know. I felt kind of irresponsible for bringing him up again, but
they wanted the bigger numbers anyways. So I figured we'd save the smaller number guys for our show.
Yeah, they wanted the spicy ones. They wanted the ones that were gonna move the needle. So I'll definitely take that. Listen, so for me, I know he's at 10-2, and I love Busch's number at 9,500, but I like Martin Truex, obviously the winner of last year's race. Again, when it comes to DFS, we don't really care if they win. It's nice if they win, obviously, because then they get the max points. That'd be fantastic for you, but they don't have to win to have a good, solid DFS day. So for me, I feel like Martin Truex Jr. could be that guy. He did lead 25 laps of the race when he did win last season. So again, at 10-2, you get some laps led up there. You get a good finishing position. He didn't do well in 2022 as far as he finished 15th.
He didn't do well at anything in 2022.
And that's what I was going to say. Like 2022, we had written him off already.
That's a throwaway year for Truex.
Yeah, that's a throwaway year for a lot of us. But look, for Martin Truex Jr.'s sake too, he did rebound last season and have a fantastic season, and one that we thought was going to be better than it was. He won the regular season championship, right? We thought, oh man, this is fantastic for Martin Truex. He's set up to win his championship again. But unfortunately it didn't come to fruition, but he did have just a good season overall. And it started with the Clash. So maybe, just maybe, he can rekindle a little bit of that. And at 10-2, he's going to need to lead laps. And I think that's the reason why I think he's going to be okay in this one, because I think he can come out. He's capable of doing it. He got 3 wins last year. Right. One of them was at Dover, which we know is a shorter track than most. He had a win at Sonoma, a win at Loudon, which is another one of those shorter tracks. So two good wins at tracks that aren't necessarily those typical cookie cutter tracks. I don't know. He's too good of a driver to not put in somewhere on a roster, because he could sneak up and win like he did last season. So yeah, give me Truex at 10-2. I know it's chalky, but I mean, sometimes you have to eat the chalk, just like they said.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes you have to eat the chalk. He will probably be popular, but he's a solid play. Obviously, he won this race last year. Like you said, I mean, tracks like New Hampshire, yes, it's 4 times the size of this track, right? There's nothing that's really just an exact comparison, but the short flat aspect of it, somewhere like Sonoma, it's got the tight turns, all of that. You can sort of look at that. So I think that those are good comparisons. Obviously won the race last season. So yeah, I think it's hard to argue with playing Truex.
I feel like there's people that'll tell you to not play Truex because he won last year, but I feel like that's kind of dangerous and reckless to just toss him out just because he didn't win, or just because, he won last year and it may not happen again. But
right. Well, it's one of those things too, where, you don't want to necessarily just play all chalk, but you don't want to get too cute either, right? Like if you're building a showdown lineup and you don't have Christian McCaffrey in there, yeah, you're going to be different from everybody, but when he scores 4 touchdowns, it's not really going to do you any good, right? So I'm not saying Martin Truex Jr. is Christian McCaffrey, but he has the potential to have a big day like that, like he did last season.
Well, it's just, you don't want to get cute. You don't want to get way too cute. Like, contradictory is contradicting, and that's fine. Like, but you do have to at least throw one lineup out there with some of the chalk. And again, I know everybody hates it because, I could tell you to do Martin Truex. Well, that's fine.
So go have your own show then.
That's what I'm saying. But then I'm telling you right now that Martin Truex Jr. is a play. So, all right. But if you don't believe me, and if you really want to go against me personally, if you want to take this, I'll give you a Martin Truex Jr. top 3, right? I'll take the yes side of it. You could take the no side of it if you want. Or maybe we could just do a Martin Truex Jr. Is he going to win this race? Yes or no? I don't know. Whatever it is, whatever we can come up with, guess what? There's a brand new form for us to be able to do it. That's KUTT. KUTT's a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Peer-to-peer social betting is a new and better way to bet. I get so excited that I get choked up and I can't even get through the read. You could bet directly against your friends or other users on sports, politics, pop culture, and other events, all with verifiable outcomes. Plus, it's tons of fun and social features. It gives it the feel of a betting social network. KUTT offers the lowest VIG and, best of all, fully customizable odds, so you can set those bad boys however you want. And as long as the person that you're betting against agrees with them, then by all means, make those bets and create your own bets. Plus, KUTT handles the payment side of things. You never got to chase anybody down for money. Listen, I'm always, good to pay up, but sometimes you got to edge me a little bit. You got to punch me in the ribs to get me to do it. Nah, not anymore. KUTT's going to do it automatically. They handle all of the payment all of the money part of it. So get down on that. Social features, you got group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, user profiles, fan groups, and so much more. And you also get rewards. You get cash back every time you bet against your friends or other users. KUTT also allows you to list almost any kind of bet. It's perfect for getting action on those fun Super Bowl prop bets as well. Reminder that KUTT is the peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and available in 40 states. Head to KUTT.com. That's KUTT.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool. You're going to get hit rates broken down by leg as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate to learn any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. Well, as we do, let's move down to those more comfortably priced players or drivers and give you our mid-tier player predictions or player picks and player. Save me, Cody.
I don't know. I was kind of enjoying that, so I was just gonna let you go. But next up for me, Rod, jumping down to the mid-tier guys, 7,800, Ryan Preece, another guy that I absolutely love this weekend. Again, we've kind of harped on this for a little while, but 33-1 top finishing Ford last season, really had a shot to win this race. He led, he led 43 laps in this race last year before having an electrical issue. The car kind of just stalled out on the backstretch. It got it refired, ends up holding on, finishing 7th, but really cost him a chance at what possibly could have been a victory. Luckily, no Fords passed him. He still cashed the bet for us. Then a couple of weeks later, they go to Martinsville. Again, a short flat track, the most comparable track to this, twice the size, yes, but the closest comparison you can look at. He led 135 laps there early on, gets the speeding penalty. Of course, that sends him to the back and kind of ends his day. But love Ryan Preece this weekend, just like I did last year going into this race. Again, you pick and choose your spots with these SHR guys. Ryan Preece, good on the short flat tracks. He's got the modified racing history, right? This is their jam. This is the types of tracks he grew up driving on, the type of racing he grew up with. I expect that to be kind of the same thing again this season. I expect him to show up, to be good. And I think it's 7,800. Again, I think that he had a great season last year in this race, but overall his season wasn't that impressive. He finished 7th, so I don't think he's going to jump out to a lot of people. I think the general public is not really going to be looking at him much. Obviously, the people who are into it and paying attention are going to realize he was really good here last year and probably play him a little more. But I think you will have an advantage over a lot of people here. So love Ryan Preece, 7,800.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's not necessarily a banner, a marquee kind of a name. And really, when you do look in and dig in, you find that it's a little bit better than you would expect out of some of these other guys that you've never heard of before. So, yeah, I definitely like that. And look, we may not be very high on him for the rest of the season and only in certain spots, but I don't know. I got a sneaky feeling that he may actually step it up a little bit. That SHR team has been sort of turned upside down, right? And there's a lot of just unknowns. And I feel like this could be an opportunity if he takes it to really grab the reins. Because we've talked about it over the offseason. Chase Briscoe is that guy now at SHR. So this is Ryan Preece's opportunity to prove that he belongs in the same conversation as Briscoe as far as being the man in that stable.
Yeah, I like it. I felt that way about him last season and it didn't go great. But again, in spots, he's great. And this is one of those spots he's great at. So I do love the play.
Indeed. All right. I'm going to turn my attention to one Tyler Reddick. He is at $8,600. Yeah, I mean, again, I know you're super high on Tyler Reddick, and I could have gone just about anywhere with this. I felt like going Buescher, almost felt like Brad Keselowski, but when you look back at what Tyler Reddick has done on this in particular, last year he finished 6th in this race after starting 11th. So that means that he moved up, right? He had himself at least some decent track position moving and got some points that way with a good finish on top of that. And then you look at what he did in 2022. He actually led 51 laps. He started second, but ended up not.
He got dumped from the. I mean, he was in the lead when he got trashed and didn't finish, but
by Busch, right? I think it was Busch.
I can't. It might have been. I can't remember. It was probably Chastain. You should always just blame it on. There's always that one kid you can blame it on. Like that was probably him. That's Chastain. But
or it might have been. It might have been Busch. I think Busch might have taken him out. I think that was what it was, because Busch was in the 18 and Reddick was in the 8. So I think it was Busch that took Reddick out.
Yeah, but to your point, he was very good here that season and very solid last year too.
Yeah. Like I said, unfortunately, the positional points got you in the end, but he did lead 51 laps, which is pretty good, and turned some fast laps as well. So, I mean, again, Tyler Reddick, for a guy that we just think is going to go balls out this season, and Tyler Reddick's one of those drivers, and I know that none of these guys take time off, right? None of these guys are guys that are going to just mail it in. When they get on the track, they get on the track to win. They get on track to do things. But guys like Tyler Reddick, when he goes out, he wants to win everything. Like this is not an exhibition for him. This is a race. This is a race where it's going to get his full attention. It's going to get his full effort and everything. So I don't think he's going to step back from this. And if he has a chance to win, he's going to have a chance to. It doesn't matter where he starts. In fact, I almost hope he starts somewhere toward the middle and the back of the field, so that way he has an opportunity to gain us some points as well, and get up and lead the race at certain points. But yeah, Tyler Reddick for sure. His price is a little bit lower than I expected it to be, which is why I'm going for this at $8,600. Yeah, definitely somebody I want on my roster.
Yeah, absolutely love him. I have decided officially my prediction is 7 wins for Tyler Reddick this season, Rod. So that's the number we're shooting for. I think that he can start that off with a bang this weekend. I was very, very close to putting him in this category, so I'm glad you brought him up, because definitely deserves to be talked about. And I love the play. And again, you mentioned a starting spot. It really doesn't matter. If he starts up front, he's got the ability to lead you a ton of laps. If he starts in the middle, he can get you a place differential, a good finish. If he starts in the back, even more place differential, still a solid finish. So he's a guy that's likely, as long as he makes the race, obviously, going to probably be locked into a lot of my lineups, just because how high I am on him this season, how high I am going into a race like this.
Indeed. All right. Well, Cody, let's save our folks some money. Let's give the value players, the value drivers out. I don't know why I keep saying players. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking players.
Oh, we're just transitioning out of football season, so I'll give you a break. It's my turn for an ad read before we do that, Rod.
Yes, please.
Daytona 500 contest for the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Super, super easy. Go over to the YouTube. If you're watching on the YouTube, thank you. You can see the beautiful graphic we have here. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. celebrating his win last season. Just got to be subscribed to the YouTube. It's easy. It's free. You take a screenshot being subscribed. Go over to our X page, our Facebook page, our Discord. The link is in there. Click on that. Fill out your name. Submit the screenshot. Pick your Daytona 500 winner. Anybody can win this race. We know that's the case. We've seen it. We've had different winners for multiple years here now, kind of out of the left field winners in a lot of cases. So that is the great thing. $100 and $100 SGPN merch gift card to the winner of the contest. Go get entered. Free contest, free money, free merch, free picks, free DFS. It's all free around here, and we love it.
I'm telling you, SGPN is, I mean, you guys have heard of it. So go tell your friends. If they have not heard of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and all of the shows that we have to offer, then, and they're any interested at all in sports and gambling, they're doing themselves a disservice by not listening. So go tell your friends. This is my one plea to you, to go tell 2 friends so they can tell 2 friends. And they can
spread the word. That's, helps get more things like this and helps get the word out there and helps everybody.
We are the best network they're not listening to. Change that. All right. Let's save them some money with our value drivers, Cody.
Next up for me, Rod, the guys, they made fun of me, but I always have him handy right here. Had to make an appearance on the Sports Gambling Podcast show the other night. My guy, Corey LaJoy. Look at that beautiful face. Look at that beautiful hair. How can you not play a guy like this? Rod, he's a little bit of a different play. He has not made the race either of the last 2 seasons. I was listening to him on his Stacking Pennies podcast earlier this week. He's going to be in the Truck Series race at Daytona, which he led the most laps in last season before the rain screwed him out of a win. So I'm very excited to bet on him in that. But he was talking about it. He was talking about how his ass was chapped for not making that race. Basically, we know there's been a huge changes at Spire, right? This influx of money. You've got the wherever this money's coming from, the Andretti's, the yellow sponsor that I can't think of right now.
Menards.
Not Menards, but the other one, Gainbridge. That's what it was. I knew it would come to me. But all this money has come in, right? $40 million for a charter. They've added a third car. And Corey said it himself. In the past, it's almost like they've been a one-car team. That 77 was kind of always just shopped out. It was a much worse car. They weren't really whatever. This year, 3 solid cars, 3 solid racers. You got 2 strong rookies coming up from the Truck Series. Inspire has just improved everywhere. So I think that we're going to see a nice, solid run from him. His qualifying efforts near the end of last season continue to get better and better. If they can hit on that, he can get a good starting spot in a heat race. Maybe he locks himself in early. I don't think he'll be a popular play. Of course, he's going to be a little bit on the cheaper end, so maybe some people will get in on him. But not having made this race the last couple of seasons is the caveat to why people might not want him. Doesn't matter to me. He's a great race car driver. I think that where you see this program continue to be stepped up, I think this will be a good opportunity. Again, he's real cheap, $5,600, but he can make a difference. Probably not a guy who's going to wreck. I mean, anybody can get caught up in these wrecks, obviously, can get punted, but he's a guy that's really smart with the car, how he's handling it. He's getting ready to win the Daytona 500 in a couple weeks. This will be a good warm-up race for him. I think he'll score you a solid amount of points to help you have a nice, solid day. At 5,600, love my guy, Corey LaJoy.
Yeah, 5,600 unlocks a ton of possibilities up there. And, again, we won't know anything until the actual heat races are over and qualifying is official. But I can imagine that if he does make this race, he's going to put a hell of a move on it. So, like I said, 5,600, you're kind of hoping for the best at this. I will give one honorable mention before I give my official play, because I don't want to, 7,100 is not necessarily a value play. But it's definitely worth bringing up, and that's Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon in this race over the last couple of years. 2023, he started 10th and finished 2nd. In 2022, he started 10th, finished 3rd. So Austin Dillon finished on the podium last year of this race. So somebody that you're going to want to, I think, have on this one. And I think we've talked about him a little bit, how we think he's going to have a better year this year. We feel that 3 car is going to have just a little bit better.
It'd be hard for him to have a worse year, but
yeah, that's true. He'd have to wreck out of every race to have a worse year. But Austin Dillon's one of those drivers where he's got Kyle Busch, right, to push him. We thought that would be a good enough for him to have a good season last year, but kind of a down year for him. So I don't think that happens this year. I think he'll do well in the Clash. This seems to be a race he likes. So at least at the Clash, I'll tell you 7,100 is a good play for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I very, very much agree. I think he's definitely a guy worth mentioning.
So, but my official play for the value is going lower than that, and that's $6,300 for John Hunter Nemechek. I brought him up on the big show the other day, talking about we don't know much about him in the Cup Series in this next gen car. Obviously, we've seen him do well in the starts that he's had, and now with the Legacy Motor Club, he's going to get another shot with some pretty decent equipment and a good manufacturer behind them. And I don't know. Obviously he hasn't raced on this track before. He's never done this before, but at $6,300, John Hunter Nemechek's just a damn good driver. Like that Xfinity Series run that he had was almost the stuff of legends. And so the fact that he earned his way back up to the Cup Series, now this is his opportunity as a full-time driver to show why. And I think this is a brand new opportunity, right? And a brand new manufacturer with a not brand new team, but a relatively new team still. And a series of folks around him that are good. Jimmy Johnson is the owner. Petty is the owner. Like these guys, these guys aren't slouches. And so he's going to have the opportunity to prove it. And I think this is where it begins. I think this Clash is going to be a good start for him. And here's the thing about it, right? Let's say he puts that car toward the end and he gets a top 10 finish. That's all you need from a guy at $6,300 is a nice, solid top 10 finish after starting somewhere deep in the field. So is he going to lead laps? I don't think so. Is he going to have fast laps? He could turn 1 or 2, but I think place differential is where you're going to get the biggest value out of John Hunter.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that's not going to be a popular play. Looking at the salaries too, I mean, even at the top of the board, you've got Kyle Larson. He's only 10,400. A lot of normal quote unquote races or tracks, he's going to be closer to like 12,000. They've got to bring the salaries down because you don't know who's going to make the race, right? So you want to make it to where people can get full lineups in here. So people might not be scraping at the bottom as much, but I don't know that it's not a bad play to leave, some on the table even for a race like this. And I think that John Hunter is a great guy to consider and to be a differential play. You go back to New Hampshire, we talked about Martin Truex winning that race and the short flat track and relating. If you remember, John Hunter won the race on Saturday. We had them combined to win both races, cash at 35-1 for us last season, which was a beautiful, beautiful day. But John Hunter absolutely dominated that race on Saturday, much like Truex did on Sunday. And yeah, we have got high expectations for this team. We think they should be solid. We think John Hunter should be solid. Again, he's not a rookie in the Cup Series. He's been here before. He went back down. He's worked his way back up. This is his second chance. He's going to want to come out and show it right away. So I think he's another cheaper, solid play that'll be different and gives you some upside for sure.
Yeah, and really, honestly, this is a wild card play for those folks who don't pay attention and are casual fans and are ones that like to play in these, like, the exhibition races or Daytona or whatever, the ones that aren't serious about it. They want to play the names that they recognize. And that's an opportunity for you to play a guy that they're like, well, John Hunter Nemechek, he didn't even race here last year. They're looking up the stats, trying to find him, and they can't find him. And they're like, oh, well, never mind. We're not going to do it. So, yeah, that's an opportunity for you guys to get in on that type of situation. So, all right, I'm going to go over the drivers that we have selected for our first DFS episode of the season. I'm so stoked. My first recap of the season again. Let's see if I remember how to do this. Cody, started you out with Kyle Busch at 9,500. I gave you Martin Truex Jr. at 10,200. Cody took a step down with Ryan Preece at $7,800. My mid-price driver was mid-price, but probably expensive for that. $8,600. Top end of the mid price for Tyler Reddick at 86. Cody, every time you pick Corey LaJoie, I'm always stumbling because I always want to say Corey. Corey picked Corey LaJoie. Cody picked Corey LaJoie at 5,600, and I gave you John Hunter Nemechek at 63 to round out our value, with an honorable mention, of course, to Austin Dillon over there at $7,100. Did not make the floor, but definitely had to be mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, that's it. That's our Busch Light at the Coliseum, the Clash, the DFS episode. Go find the contest, which is going to be in Discord. We'll definitely have that up.
Yeah. We got the $5 weekly contest. We do it every week. We do it for all 3 series. It's for the Discord only. We toss it in there. You jump in, compete against a couple of us. Come take our money. It's a lot of fun.
It's a blast. So, and by the way, if you put all of these in one lineup, you still have $2,000 remaining.
Yep,
so
you do. Yep.
Got
plenty of room to work with. And I mean, yeah, we got, you were on the higher end of both your top guy and your middle guy. So yeah, there's plenty of room to work with these. Again, we'll have a few guys cut off of the list. Obviously 13 drivers not making it, but it's going to be plenty of different ways to build these lineups, which is going to be fun.
Yep. And again, keep an eye as you go. I mean, if you put these guys in the lineup now, just kind of play save yourself, and then keep an eye on the qualifying and the heat races and all that other stuff, and then tweak it as you need to. But again, if you're new to the DFS episode, we already know that we don't know what's going on, and we don't know where they're going to start. We don't know anything about anything when we do these DFS, but we do know that the plays that we give you are guys that are relatively going to be solid no matter A, where they start, or B, have the opportunity to give you a nice return on your investment on them.
Yeah. Ryan Blaney, the only guy who is absolutely very safe to play. He's locked into the race for sure. Nobody else is. So just pay attention this weekend. Yeah.
But make sure that you don't put all of your lineups with Ryan Blaney in it, because everybody in their dog is going to have Ryan Blaney in their lineup.
He's got that. He's going to have that championship hangover. So watch out for that.
Indeed. All right. Well, then that'll do it for the DFS episode. I'm almost sad to see it go, but we'll definitely be back with the DFS for Daytona. So I'm not that sad. We'll be back again for that. And we'll be back again later this week with another episode. Hopefully it's Underdog. We're really crossing our fingers for Underdog to put some stuff up. So if not, we'll find another way to get involved.
We're playing everything by ear this week. All the books, the services, everybody's a little bit asleep at the wheel. That's why we have these warm-up races. Hopefully everything will be well oiled and ready to go for Daytona.
This is an exhibition week for the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. We will get into full points mode during Daytona, but this is an exhibition week. Love it. All right. Well, Cody, as we let everybody go, and as we always do, remind everyone where they can find you on social media.
Yep. Follow me on the X at Husker_Zeeb. Find all my work over there. If you're looking for some NASCAR fantasy leagues that take some entry fees, payouts, hit me up. I got a few leagues we're in that are looking for different players and more players and whatnot. So shoot me a message, hit me up in the Discord, whatever the case may be. DFS lineups for an actual race this weekend. Let's fucking go.
Beautiful stuff. It always brings a tear to my eye when we can actually talk racing and actual races. So happy to be able to have done this. Follow me on X at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's Sportsbook Review, In Between Media, AFL Podcast, probably on your street corner screaming at you about some sporting event. I don't know, your kids' softball games, whatever it is. Well, maybe not your kids' softball. That's creepy. Anyways, follow me or don't. I don't care. We'll see you guys tomorrow with more Clash content. And until then, everybody, don't run from me. Let's go racing and let it ride.
Another piece of us is broken.